Hello KHS volunteers. Just wanted to make a quick video tutorial on some troubleshooting methods for getting consistent green screen uh, color backgrounds. So when you start with a photo originally, you'll see that it's pretty common, just based off like logistics of like where the dog has to stand, or often where he chooses to stand, that he's gonna often make contact directly with the backdrop, in the back there, which isn't ideal, but it's just kind of um, expected in a lot of circumstances. And as well, you know, where his actual paws or legs touch the ground, that often creates such a deep shade of green because of the shadow, that when you do a normal color adjustment, just to replace color, it won't necessarily change that color. Often it will leave it, or just slightly adjust the color, but not fully, so it's still pretty noticeable. So I've pulled 3 photos here that I shot recently with Steve's help, and you can see that where the dog made contact with the green screen, in that shadow, the color replace didn't adjust that. So it's not the biggest deal. When it's a thumbnail about this size, no one can really notice it. But it's something that it bothers me, just like as a photographer and as a photo editor. So this is how you fix that. So I've already gone through these photos and changed the background, got taken out the leashes and things. So the only thing really left to do is to fix that shadow color. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create a new layer. So you can find that down here. Here's the icon for it. So you're just going to create a new layer right on top of that, right? And then let's see, we're going to go to brushes here. And just pick, it's just a regular brush. Usually, I kind of keep it soft. I think that's better. It just kind of helps it blend, but it doesn't really matter. Oops, check that out. So yeah, then I'm gonna go here, and if you hold down Option, it creates it selects the eyedropper tool. So then I just click the color of the background right there, wherever is fairly near that shadow, and then adjusting the size of my brush to wherever it's necessary. I'm just gonna paint over that. And I'll just do like a little bit, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do after that. So, this is not the final step, because as you can see, it's looking a little funky. It looks like someone took a can of spray paint and just sort of like went over that. So that's not ideal. I would argue maybe that's better just by itself than how it was. But anyway, so that's the first step. So the second step is if you go over here, to the blending mode. So what's typically selected is normal. That's just the default. But if you click on it, it gives you all these options, which all do different things. And there's lots of resources online as to find out exactly what all of those do. And I will probably include some training resources on just some of those in the future. But currently, the only ones that really you're going to want to look at are these 3 right here, and really just hue and color, in fact. And usually, like, it just kind of depends on the lighting condition as to which one of those just looks better. So I'm just going to click color here, and we're going to see. And so what it's done, and I'll toggle this so you can see the difference, is all it did is, it didn't change the value, the lightness to darkness of this, so it's not really painting over it anymore, but it's just taken that color and just changed it to the color that we painted over it. And then once you have that blending mode like activated like that, once it's selected there, and if you make sure you stay on this layer, and if you still have your brush tool on, you can just continue painting anywhere that looks kind of funky to you, and it'll just keep doing that. um, it'll just keep just changing, you know, the color. Now you want to be careful when you're doing this and be, you know, not overlap the dog too much. I mean, if you do it a little bit, it just kind of looks like a little color spill, and that doesn't bother me too much. But if you know, just did a streak across his paw, like that would be unflattering, I think. But yeah, and that's all there is to it. And then you can just kind of merge these layers by, you can hit Command E, which will do it. Or if you'd like, go to Layer and Flatten Image. And that'll also do it if you're working in JPEG, which I usually do because of the resolution expectations here. But yeah, so that's it. So, you know, that looks like a pretty natural, like consistent color. It just looks like he's on a pink backdrop. So this happens mostly, you know, when you're going from, you know, green to like a much more bright, vibrant color, something a little warmer like red or this pink, which is why that's probably the most often you're going to see it, is when you're trying to make it do that kind of color shift. And here, I'm going to just take out this, I guess that's a reflection of some sort, get rid of that real quick. But yeah, so I'm just going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to create a new layer, go to my brush tool, eyedropper, select the color of this background, and then here I'll just go ahead and do this. We'll select that color blend, and then I just kind of paint in there. As you see, you know, it's not affecting the construction of anything. You know, the detail is all, went a little far there. Detail's all still there. All the shadow patterns are still there. I'm just painting in where there should be that color. And I might reselect. As you go to different parts, you should probably reselect. Yeah, that looks a little more natural. Reselect the eyedropper tool and pick the color that's near it. Yeah, reselect over here too. So yeah, much more cohesive. And you can, like for each image, I like to try color, and then I'll just see how the hue looks. For this one, hue isn't really doing it for me. I think color is usually a safer bet. Sometimes just changing the hue, like if it's a little more subtle, sometimes it'll give you a better result. But yeah, so that's that. And you can even, if I wanted, so sometimes on the dog itself, you'll see some color spill like that. Now you can get rid of that as well. I will create a new layer, and then I will select just the color of the dog that I want to be there. And I'm just gonna kind of paint in over that. Oops. Just roughly where that should probably be. And then we'll kind of do the same thing. Yeah, just like that. Color's gone. We can do it here. Do it up here on the dog's face. I want to get rid of that green shine. So I know that's, went a little farther. I know that's not the most flattering thing, and it bothers some people to have that spill. So yeah, just like that, the dog's, yeah, that looks quite nice, I think. And here, this is, you know, a darker blue, which also can kind of do it. It's less common than the bright colors here, but it still happens. Just depending on the lighting conditions and everything, and especially on puppies, you know, where they're real low to the ground, they're casting shadows that are a little closer to the ground. So yeah, same thing. Make a new layer. Eyedropper tools, just select that color. We'll just go ahead and go down to the color blend mode, and then just paint over it. We'll select over here. Select here. Yeah, that looks fine. Sometimes, you know, you'll see those kind of a halo effect happening around parts of the dog's outline, and you can just paint around that too. Especially if it's a darker dog. If it's a lighter colored dog, you'd probably need to be a little more careful with how you're painting, but the darker ones can kind of handle the roughness here. Not so apparent. And then here, we'll go up here and we will select this color and just kind of fix that green spill. And you could even do it in the eyes. So, you know, if you select a part of the eye, I mean, this dog's eyes are like pretty brown, but it works on, you know, animals with more vibrant eyes as well. Oops, far there. And then keep in mind, if you make like a big mistake and you don't notice it until later. So right now, you know, when I'm like swerving off into the wrong spot, I'm just hitting Control Z or Command Z on Mac, which is just undoing it. But you can also do edit, step backward, you know, would also do it. But also, if I made this, like, because you're actually painting, if you just go to the eraser tool, you can erase that, which is really nice. So yeah, that's often helpful. I'm just gonna go through here. Make that out. And you know, you don't feel like you have to be this, you know, detailed with it even. The color spill on the dog itself, if it's not super apparent, I don't mind. It's really, you know, the color of the dog versus the floor. That's pretty distracting, but yeah, that's all there is to that. And yeah, pretty good results. Anyway, well, thank you for tuning in. Please reach out with any more questions or suggestions of ideas. I've got a few more videos in the works that I'm making. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Have a great afternoon or whatever time it is when you're watching this.